In the darkness, the children grew crueler, sharper. They learned to track breath and movement, and they devised countless ways to crush the flawed sword style. Now, one by one, its practitioners were falling. Go Shinho had died first, Yuk Pyong was the second, only Pyolwol remained. Song Qianwu looked at Yuk Pyong's fading eyes, discomfort tugging at what little humanity he had left. "I'm sorry," he whispered, though the boy was already gone. Grinding his teeth, he muttered, "One more." At a distance, he caught So Yewol's gaze. She signaled, and the children dispersed to hunt the last survivor. So Gyeoksan laughed darkly. He always laughed, no matter the situation. The sound grated on the others, but none spoke. Li Min finally broke the silence. "That just leaves Pyolwol, doesn't it?" No one answered. Faces darkened. Everyone knew. Go Shinho and Yuk Pyong combined still did not equal one Pyolwol. After So Yawol's failed ambush, Pyolwol had vanished. Despite the sealed underground chamber, not a trace of him could be found. Maybe he escaped outside. Li Min asked nervously. "No, he's still here," So Yawol replied firmly. Her certainty unsettled the others. Li Min, especially, with her beauty sharpened by the years in darkness, looked troubled. Many had been ensnared by her allure, though she herself seemed unaware. Her loyalty, however, lay wholly with So Yawol. 6 years together, and still, no one could measure Pyolwol's true depth. He adapted as though he had been born in this prison, always advancing faster than the rest. So Yawol felt a pang of regret. Perhaps her words earlier had driven him to grow even stronger. Pyolwol had a way of turning the smallest hints into breakthroughs. So Gyeoksan cackled. "Wouldn't it be easier to kill the instructors instead?" Sun Qianwu gave a bitter nod, though all knew such thoughts were futile. The instructors and the three swords were not foes one could defy so easily. "For now," So Yewol said, "we focus on finding Pyolwol. If we let him linger, he'll only grow stronger." Everyone agreed and departed, leaving only Yuk Pyong's corpse behind. Then the corpse stirred. Yuk Pyong's chest rose once, then shifted aside. From beneath his body, Pyolwol emerged. He had hidden himself under the body, using the turtle breathing technique to suppress all signs of life. None of the children could have imagined he was lying just beneath their feet. He looked down at Yuk Pyong, whose fate had been sealed not by choice but by chance. Perhaps even in death he felt wronged. Gently, Pyolwol closed the boy's eyes. It was a small comfort. Then he turned toward the direction the others had gone. With all attention fixed on hunting him, this was the moment he had been waiting for. Silent as a stalking cat, Pyolwol vanished into the dark. His steps made no sound, not taught by any master but perfected on his own. His destination, the quarters of Lim Seol and the Three Swords. They were the true chains binding the children. For 6 years, fear and dependence had shackled their minds. Even now, Pyolwol felt the weight of that taboo pressing down. But he would not be bound forever. The dwelling of Lim Seol and the instructors had been hollowed out of a natural cave. It sat on the opposite side of the cavern from where Pyolwol stayed, its entrance ringed with iron defenses. Instructors took turns standing guard. Because of that vigilance, no one dared try to infiltrate the place. These same instructors had taught the children stealth and infiltration, so they also knew the best countermeasures. As the children's skills improved, the instructors grew more watchful. They believed no one would dare slip past their defenses, but they did not account for a person who could move beyond the limits of their perception. Pyolwol crept in without a sound. He combined stealth with his turtle breathing technique. Ordinarily, that technique nearly halted bodily activity. Breathing would be reduced to the bare minimum, and movement was considered impossible. The instructors who taught it expected it to be used as taught, and the children used it that way, motionless, like a corpse. Pyolwol questioned that rule. Lim Seol's quarters lay deepest in the cavern. Fortunately, Lim Seol was not in the room. Pyolwol searched the study, hoping to find the instructors' affiliations, anything that might reveal who their master was and where to strike to break the restrictions binding the children. No dossiers were anywhere to be found. Instead, he found a single letter, privy only to the leader of the Blood Phantom Group. Duration, 7 years. Reward, 500,000 gold. Condition, leave no traces related to the Blood Phantom Group. How important must one person be for them to spend 7 years raising assassins, sending 270 of 300 to die in training just to kill him? A presence at the outer corridor startled him. He hurriedly returned the letter and slipped into the shadow. Lim Seol was approaching. Lim Seol's instincts sharpened. He could not shake the feeling that something was off. He entered the room and the feeling intensified. "Someone came in," he said. No one else could enter the dwelling without his permission. Not the second sword, not the third, not even the instructors. "An intruder's entered my room. He might still be in the cave. Find them." The instructors exchanged shocked looks. The entrance was always guarded. For someone to slip through such tight security was nearly impossible, but none doubted Lim Seol's word. If he sensed an intruder, There had been an intruder. Lim Seol summoned Gu Shinheng, the second sword, and Sang Ilshin, the third sword. Their faces darkened as they considered the implication: if a child could already penetrate Lim Seol's room, the potential for rebellion was real. The children were growing clever and resentful. Left unchecked, they might rise before they ever reached the mission stage. They had to quash that danger now. Any clues who it could be? Gu Shinheng asked. Pyolwal, Lim Seol answered. The certainty in his voice left no room for doubt. There's no child more skilled at infiltration. Gu Shinhonging and Sang Ilshin swallowed. It was humiliating to admit, but Lim Sayol's sense rarely erred. If a course of action was needed, it had to be immediate. They could not punish him without proof, and they feared the backlash. Lim Sayol proposed a different plan. We'll redirect the children's opposition toward Pyolwal, he said. Use the Hell Call. The Hell Call. It was a last resort restriction, a terrifying demonstration of authority. It will show the children who truly holds their lives. It will crush their spirit and make an example of what happens to those who defy us. The children's arrogance lately had been growing. This was an opportunity to break them. Bring it out, Lim Seol ordered. Gu Shinheng returned carrying a flute. He handed it to Lim Seol, who led them out to the large underground chamber. From the dark hollows, children watched and waited, hidden in every crevice. Lim Seol lifted the flute to his lips. I'll show you hell, he blew. An eldritch, inhuman tone, barely audible yet everywhere at once, rolled through the cavity. The sound sank into bones and breath alike. Where the hell are you hiding? So Yowl's expression was as cold as stone. She tried to suppress her emotions, but a flicker of irritation betrayed her eyes. She wasn't alone. Every child tracking Pyolwal felt the same frustration. All of them had been mobilized for the hunt, yet no one had found a single trace of him. Each child prided themselves on their tracking skills, but against Pyolwal, who vanished without a trace, they were powerless. Their annoyance boiled over. Just give me a little more time. I'll find him. That bastard. I never liked him. I'll definitely be the one to catch him. The children pushed themselves harder, scouring the grounds. Some even dared to search Pyolwal's underground quarters, but not even his shadow was found. Suddenly, a sharp, piercing sound rang in their ears. At first, they thought it was an illusion, something only they could hear. But soon, everyone realized the sound was real. Then, one by one, the children collapsed, clutching their chests. It felt as if invisible hands were squeezing their hearts. Breathing became nearly impossible. So, Yowl curled up, trembling violently. She thought she had become numb to pain after years here, but this was different. The heart-wrenching agony soon spread, as if insects were gnawing their way through her body. No one was spared. Every child writhed on the ground in torment. Then, a figure appeared from the shadows. It was Pyolwal. His beauty was strangely neutral, blending masculine and feminine features into an unsettling allure. The children were in such agony that they didn't even notice the boy they had been desperately hunting standing before them. He, too, had heard the piercing tone, but unlike the others, it hadn't affected him. At worst, it was just irritating. Yet the other children clutched their hearts, pale as death. They've activated the restriction. His eyes turned cold. This was the moment he had been waiting for. But there was one mystery. Why was he the only one unaffected? He knelt beside Li Min, whose condition seemed worst of all. Her lips were pale, her eyes rolling back. I need to find the cause. Taking a risk, Pyolwal carefully channeled his inner chi into her body. Normally, forcing energy into someone else was reckless. Clashing energies could cripple or even kill. But because she practiced the same cultivation technique as him, he hoped the risk would be minimal. His gamble paid off. Her energy didn't resist his. Step by step, he probed deeper with his chi, searching her body. Yet he found no foreign presence, no disturbance in her meridians. Her internal energy is fine. He pulled his hand back, frowning. So what's the difference between them and me? Same food, same training, same martial arts. The only difference he could think of: poison. Unlike the others, his body carried a natural resistance to toxins, born from years of surviving the venom of that strange snake. Could that be it? But something still didn't add up. If this was poison, how could all 27 collapse at the exact same moment? And why would an external sound trigger it? No, it's not poison, it's something alive. A memory flashed in his mind, a snake paralyzing an insect with a sound before devouring it. What if it's not poison, but poisonous insects, dormant inside our bodies? Everything clicked. It would have been simple to introduce the insects through food or water. The instructors must have used Hellcall to stimulate the dormant insects, forcing them to release toxins into the children's bodies. So that's how they keep control, Pyeolwol clenched his fists. The timing was no coincidence. They had triggered the curse because of him, because they suspected his infiltration. Just then, shouts echoed through the cavern. The instructors were coming. Pyeolwol hesitated. He could slip away, but that would expose his resistance to the poison. Making a quick decision, he collapsed among the children, clutching his chest and feigning agony. With a subtle use of qi, he paled his complexion and made his body convulse. Moments later, Lim Seol entered with the instructors. "You were here," his sharp eyes fixed on Pyeolwol. A thought flickered in his mind. Should I kill him now? For years, he had felt something about this boy was unnatural. Even among the children, Pyeolwol's calm, unreadable demeanor set him apart. He was too patient, too calculating. A monster hiding in plain sight. Lim Seol's hand tightened on his sword. He drew it and drove the blade into Pyeolwol's shoulder. The pain was real. Even as he acted unconscious, Pyeolwol could feel his flesh tearing. Lim Seol leaned in, whispering coldly, "What did you see in my room?" His suspicion gnawed at him. Pyeolwol had always been different, stronger, smarter, hiding something. Now was the chance to eliminate him. He raised his sword again, but Gu Xinheng and Song Ilshan blocked him. "You can't. Let go. His infiltration skills are invaluable for the mission. There are other children, not like him. Besides, we still have Hellcall. As long as it exists, we can control him." At the mention of Hellcall, Lim Seol faltered. The sound it emitted was what triggered the insects inside the children. Without the antidote, they would die in agony. With it, they were forced into dependence. It was the perfect leash. With a heavy breath, Lim Seol lowered his sword. "Give them the antidote." The instructors rushed to administer pills to the children. One by one, their color returned. Though the relief was temporary, the insects remained, dormant but alive. Pyeolwol opened his eyes slowly, clutching his wound, feigning confusion. Then Song Ilshan raised his voice, cutting through their confusion. "You all suffered because of Pyeolwol. If he hadn't invaded our quarters, none of this would have happened. Remember, if something like this happens again, you'll all feel that same pain." The children turned on Pyeolwol, their eyes filled with anger. Although Pyeolwol had become the children's public enemy, he didn't care. Even before Sang Ilshan's remarks, he had already been treated with hostility. He was used to being hated. Whether their resentment grew or not made no difference to him. So it really was the cursed poison. Fortunately, the Hellcall had no effect on him. I survived thanks to the snake venom. Pyeolwol felt oddly lucky. He hadn't endured that fateful snakebite in preparation for this moment, but in the end, it had given him a way to break free from their leash. Another weapon to secure his survival. It's so bleak to be alone in a place like this. He's really strange, rejecting everyone just to live in the dark. Their voices pierced the shadows. To ordinary ears, the whispers would have been faint. But to Pyeolwol, whose senses far surpassed human limits, each voice was distinct. The three entered cautiously, torches in hand. "Where the hell is this kid hiding?" So Gyeoksan muttered, sweeping his torchlight around. "Why are you looking for me?" His voice came from directly behind him, so Gyeoksan spun in shock. Pyeolwol stood there, silent as a ghost. "When did you—" Cold sweat trickled down, so Gyeoksan's back. If Pyeolwol had attacked, he would have died without even realizing. "What's going on?" Pyeolwol asked flatly. "We wanted to talk." So Yeowol answered for him, stepping forward. "About what?" "The restriction. The one imposed on all of us. Do you know what it is?" Her gaze locked on him, unwavering. "Everyone collapsed at the same time," she continued. "I collapsed too. That's the problem," she pressed on. "When we fainted, you weren't there. But when we woke up, you were lying among us. That means you weren't affected, or at least not in the same way, sharp as ever." The other children hadn't pieced it together, but she had. "I think you know exactly what it is. Am I wrong?" Pyeolwol's eyes glinted. "You're right. I know." "Then tell us. Why should I? What? Why should I tell you? What do I gain from it?" So Yeowol bit her lip, momentarily speechless. So Gyeoksan snapped instead. "You bastard. Is that how you treat your comrades?" "You might think your comrades," Pyeolwol said coldly. "But you hunted me without hesitation, don't you?" So Gyeoksan grimaced. He couldn't deny it. None of them had ever truly considered Pyeolwol one of them. He was an outsider, always. Only Yeowol and Lee Min spoke to him. "Fine. Then from now on, let's be friends. I swear it. I'll never abandon you, no matter what. I'll always treat you as a friend. And you expect me to believe that?" Pyeolwol smirked. "You've got a thick face. You need thick skin to master the face mask arts. Besides, what's the harm? Having someone as capable as me as a friend can only help. If we ever escape this hell, come find me at the Republic Arts Troupe. I'll help you." Sensing his guard drop slightly, Yeowol and Lee Min seized their chance. "Then I'll also consider you a friend," Yeowol said. "At the very least, those who follow me won't oppose you." "And I," Lee Min lowered her eyes shyly, "I'll consider you special. I'll never betray you." Her voice was soft, her expression enchanting under the torchlight. Pyawol studied them in silence, then finally spoke. It's cursed poison. The three stiffened. It's inside all of us, Pyawol continued. A living organism, dormant until they blow the flute. Then it awakens, releasing poison into our blood, attacking our organs. Then how did you survive? I've always been resistant to poison. That's why I could still move, even when you collapsed. Then, now that you know, the rest is up to you. Figure out how to remove it yourselves. He spoke not out of kindness, but calculation. The more variables in play, the better for him. Even if just one or two managed to overcome the curse, it would create chaos, and chaos favored him. He was their age, yet his thoughts, his methods, everything was alien. Where did someone like him even come from? She couldn't understand him, perhaps no one could. But she knew one thing, he was not ordinary. Their objective complete, Yowell nodded. Thank you. If you ever need anything, come to me. I'll help however I can. I will, Pyowol replied. She turned to leave, with Gyeoksun waving casually as he followed. Only Lee Min lingered. Lee Sol Min, that's my real name. I want you to remember it. She smiled, cheeks tinged with red. Under the torchlight, her lips gleamed vividly. The air felt different that day. No one told the children what was about to happen, but instinct warned them this day was unlike any other. The atmosphere in the morning was restless and chaotic. Children who normally kept to themselves drifted toward the center of the underground communal area. Among them was Pyowol. He had left Section 1 with a strange premonition and joined the gathering. Their masks were the same, but their attire was different, refined, formal, not the worn garments of training. None of the children had ever seen them dressed this way. The air grew heavier as the three approached. Lim Seol let his gaze pass over the group before he spoke. Today, we leave this cave. A ripple of shock ran through the children. They had expected this day would come, but hearing it aloud made their hearts pound. Lim Seol continued. The instructors will go first. After that, it will be your turn, so Yowell stepped forward, voice bright. You will lead the others out. Understood. Her liveliness was unmistakable, and it stirred anticipation in the others. Nearly 7 years had passed since they were cast into this underground prison. To leave meant missions awaited and danger, but even that couldn't dull their joy. Escaping this hell was enough. The instructors returned in new attire as well, masks in place but excitement flickering in their eyes. Trained as they were to hide emotion, none could contain the thrill of stepping outside after so long. Only Lim Seol remained cold. His eyes stayed sharp as he studied the children. How many will survive? They were strong, yes. Hardened by brutal survival and endless competition, they had become feral beasts more than children. Yet against Jianghu's true masters, they were still far from the best. Their target was not the strongest of the present, but a man destined to become one of the future's most dangerous. How many would last against him, Lim Seol would not guess. It doesn't matter. His mission was only to raise them to this level. What came after was not his responsibility. Soon he would retire, leaving this life behind. After a long wait, the basket returned, carrying away the rest of the instructors. Only the children remained, so Yeol approached Pyowol. Do you think we'll be put on missions soon? That's the only reason we were raised. Do you know who the target is? No. Pyowol shook his head. He knew the name Wu Gunseng, but chose not to share it. Fewer people knowing was safer. He changed the subject. What about the cursed poison? Some of us have been detoxified, so Yowell said with a faint smile. Pyowol's eyes widened. He knew how difficult it was to purge. Min is skilled with poison. Li Min, so Yowell nodded, offering nothing more. Li Seol Min, Pyowol thought. Like everyone else here, her past was sealed away. That she could neutralize the poison so quickly meant her ability was exceptional. He studied So Yowell's profile. Her beauty rivaled Li Min's. Pale skin untouched by sunlight for 7 years, sharp enough to steal hearts. She knew her worth and wielded it like a weapon. Sharing detoxification only with her followers was another form of power. So Yowell was born to use everything around her. The basket returned. Finally, we're going out. The children's excitement boiled over, so Yowell calmed them. The basket can't carry all of us at once. Half will go first, the rest will wait. Whole, she called names. Kaolpyeong, Jinsum, and Mokso. Those chosen rushed into the basket, faces lit with joy. The others showed no resentment, since Soyawol and her closest aides had chosen to remain behind. The basket lowered again. The last group prepared to leave, excitement barely contained. They boarded, so Yowol pulling the rope to signal. Pyolwol crossed his arms and looked around the cavern. Darkness had swallowed most of it, but his eyes still traced every corner. This was where they had spent 7 years. He had no fond memories, but leaving still brought a strange sadness. Then his expression hardened. Sentiment. This place is hell. Here he had become a demon. He had killed, hidden his feelings, bled children's lives away. His humanity had died in the dark. What remained was a monster shaped for killing. Perhaps this cave suited him best. A white glow appeared above. Recognizing it as sunlight, Pyo tore his sleeve into a strip of cloth and bound his eyes. His ragged clothing didn't matter. What mattered was survival. So Yawol and Li Min understood instantly and followed. Why? What are you doing? The others stared in confusion. If you don't want to go blind, cover your eyes. Realization struck. 7 years in darkness had left their eyes fragile. Direct sunlight would destroy them. Hastily, the children ripped cloth and shielded their vision. Even through fabric and closed lids, the light stabbed their eyes like blades, drawing tears. Their skin, ghostly pale, reddened at once. The sun's warmth burned them. They had endured countless pains, but none had expected the sunlight they longed for to wound them so deeply. The basket broke through to the surface. A squad of black-clad warriors awaited them. Assassins of the Blood Phantom group. Among them stood a gaunt, middle-aged man with glassy, emotionless eyes. His presence alone made the children's skin crawl. At his waist hung a warped blade, its curve like a crimson moon, the Blood Moon knife. Countless had died beneath it. Its wielder was captain of the Blood Phantom group, Gu Juyang. He had not stepped into daylight for years. But today, the results of 7 years of training and vast sums of gold would be revealed. He would see with his own eyes. A faint smile touched his lips. We've made some useful ones. The client will be satisfied. The children writhed in sunlight, yet from their bodies seeped an aura, sharp, violent, unmistakably deadly. They were ready to be loosed upon the world. For the first time, Pyo realized the sunlight he once loved could be fatal. His whole body felt aflame. If he stayed beneath the sun any longer, he thought he might turn to ash. The pain left the other children writhing, but Pyo kept calm. Eyes shut, he endured and listened. A voice reached him. We seem to have created some useful ones. I'm sure the client will be satisfied. The sound was devoid of emotion, yet carried absolute confidence. At once, Pyo knew this was the captain of the Blood Phantom group. Only someone who commanded all others could speak like that while the rest stood silent. He memorized the man's voice. Another voice followed. Load them into the wagons. Take them to Clearwind Manor. They'll adapt to the outside world there. Ah, yes, sir. Assassins stepped forward, pairing off to seize the children's arms. They dragged them to carriages shrouded in blackout curtains and shoved them inside without hesitation. The doors slammed shut. In darkness, the children tore off their blindfolds and let out ragged breaths of relief. Pyo also untied his cloth and leaned against the wagon wall. The carriage was crammed far past capacity, dozens pressed together in a space fit for only a few. The wagons rumbled for more than a day and a half, without food, without water. Hunger hollowed the children's bellies. At last, creak, the wheels stopped, the doors opened. They had arrived at a manor ringed with high walls. Gujuyang's voice carried over them. This will be your home. Here you'll adjust to the outside world. Do not be relieved. Any indolence, and I'll cut your breath myself. The pressure of his presence left even these hardened children trembling. At his signal, assassins herded them into rooms. Crude though they were, the chambers were still better than the carriages. Pyo was placed with Sogyok-san and Go Shinnok. Though they had shared the underground for years, this was the first time they'd slept in the same room. For Sogyok-san and Shinnok, it was familiar, but Pyo was an outsider. His presence was awkward. He said simply, "Pretend I don't exist. It won't matter to me. Who cares?" Sogyok-san grinned. The room held only 4 bunks, a desk, and folded sets of plain clothes. They were cheap, but better than the rags they wore. For 7 years they had barely washed, their garments reeking with age. "I need to wash," Pyo muttered, pointing through the window at a well. Under moonlight, he stripped and poured cold water over himself. The shock of it hammered home one truth. I'm finally outside. Water splashed. Let's wash too. So Gyok-san laughed, rushing over. The others followed, and for the first time in 7 years, they bathed, ate, and rested freely. Over the next week, Pyo gradually acclimated to the sun. At first, he could only endure 30 painful minutes. By the 7th day, he could last hours. His eyes also adjusted, first nearly blind, guided by sound alone, then gradually open in daylight. The children were confined to the manor, but even the backyard brought them joy. A strip of sky, the scent of air, the hum of grasshoppers, blossoms by the wall, all miracles to eyes that thought never to see them again. Some wept openly, whispering, "It's worth dying now." They savored the view their dead companions had longed for. But Pyo knew this happiness would not last. The Blood Phantom group had raised them for one purpose. Now that they were used to the sun, their training was complete. His suspicion was soon confirmed. Take these weapons. Keep them close. You'll need them soon. Swords, needles, tools of disguise, their smiles vanished. The time for missions had come. Gujuyang's quarters were in Great Moon Hall, the largest building of Clearwind Manor. The manor itself had once belonged to a wealthy merchant. built as a retreat with his lover. But assassins ended his dream one night, and his family fled. The abandoned estate became the Blood Phantom Group's base. Now, the same hall served Gu Zhiyong. Lim Xiaol sat across from him, mask removed. Like the children, he had struggled to adapt to sunlight after 7 years below. Younger men managed faster. For older ones like him, the ordeal was harsher. "You've worked hard," Gu Jiang said. "I only did my duty. Our group prospered thanks to you and the others, uncle. I owe you much." "There is no debt. I'd have died long ago without your father's hand." It was Gu Zhengpyong, Gu Zhang's father, who had first drawn Lim Xiaol onto the assassin's path. Out of gratitude, he had devoted his life to the Blood Phantom Corps. Gu Zhang poured him a drink. "Your duty is finished. You may rest now. You're granting retirement, of course, the second and third swords as well. Thank you." Lin Seol raised his glass. The cheap liquor tasted sweeter than anything before, freedom in liquid form. Gu Zhiyang only wetted his lips. He never drank deeply. Dull senses meant death for an assassin. Lim Seol sighed. "Those children are pitiful. Their talent is wasted if they're used once and discarded." "I know," Gu Jiang replied. Through Seol's reports, he understood the terrifying potential of the children. If they could keep them, the Blood Phantom Group might one day rival even the greatest assassin sects. But they couldn't. The contract forbade it. The client had demanded new faces, unknown to Zhang Hu. Gu Jiang suspected it was to conceal the client's own identity. Even for a sum as massive as 500,000 gold, he still knew nothing of who had hired them. His lips curved faintly. Finding the client would not be hard, but with such wealth and patience, they were clearly no ordinary power. Better to stay silent. The Blood Phantom Group was strong, perhaps among the top 10. But compared to the great sects of Zhang Hu, they were nothing. One sect could annihilate them. Only one assassin group stood apart, the White Spirit Troop. Their 10 bloodsuckers were already legend, feared even by Shaolin, Wudong, and Mount Hua. That was Gu Zhiyang's ambition, to raise the Blood Phantom Group to that level. Until then, caution was survival. If we complete this commission, our rise begins. Even the White Spirit Troop won't be beyond reach. His eyes gleamed with hunger. Lim Seol's own gaze wavered. For the first time in years, unease stirred in him. Paiwal studied the weapon in his hand. It was a warped dagger, its back serrated like a saw. A weapon crafted not for beauty, but for one purpose, cutting life short as efficiently as possible. "So, Gyeoksan dropped down beside him. Are you trembling because the mission's close?" he teased. "Maybe a little." "You liar." Pyeolwol's lips curved faintly. "You seem to be the one trembling. You're chattier than usual." "Me? Trembling? Don't make me laugh. I abandoned fear long ago. Nothing in this world scares me." Gyeoksan twirled his dagger, grinning. "I just can't wait to split someone open. Only then will all that suffering feel worth it." The others might not have spoken, but they shared the same conflicted mix of fear and anticipation. "Take your equipment and come out." The two exchanged glances, grabbed their gear, and went. Gudrion's eyes swept over them. "From now on, you'll be relocated. You'll follow the orders of the fourth sword." Behind him stepped a masked man, the strongest of the 7 ghost swords, now their acting leader since Lim Seol's retirement. The swordsman's gaze was razor-sharp. "Disobey me, and you die. Move too slow, you die. Act foolishly, you die. If you want to live, act wisely." Children's faces tightened. He was no fading instructor, he was an active assassin, and his killing aura pressed heavily upon them. "Move out!" The swordsman strode forward. The children followed, a dozen assassins shadowing them. The swordsman glanced back, impressed. 28 children moved with him, yet not a sound betrayed them. The elders raised them well. Their growth was monstrous. Not a single one lagged behind. Some even seemed sharper than the Blood Phantom's own assassins. He pushed the thought aside. These were tools for one use only, then discard. No reason to pity them. By dawn, they reached a hillside. Ahead loomed a colossal mountain, its ridges linked like a blue fortress stretching into the heavens. Clouds circled its waist, unable to pass. The children froze. Even Pyeolwol, who had roamed Zhanghu before his capture, had never seen such majesty. "Our goal lies there. Hide." At once, the children vanished into foliage, their bodies pressed against the earth like burrowing moles. "Follow my lead, and you'll find a manor, identical to the one you lived in. In Bright Moon Palace, there is a man. He is your target." The words sank in. Only now did the children grasp why they had been raised in shadows, molded for this task. Bright Moon Palace, a secluded outbuilding. Its layout, its path, had been drilled into their minds. Infiltrating it held no fear, only curiosity. Who was worth 7 years of suffering? Only Pyeolwol already knew. Wu Gunsang, the woman was beautiful. Her skin was pale as snow, her hair long and black as silk. Dark lashes framed clear black eyes that seemed to wash the heart clean. She wore a light blue robe patterned with peacock feathers, layered skirts swaying as she walked alone through a blooming garden. The air brimmed with blossoms, a paradise cultivated for years. Yet her sigh cut through it. Her sorrow clung to her face. She reached out, touching a petal. It crumbled into dust. Another sigh left her lips. An old woman entered then, clad in gray robes like a jackdaw. Her staff struck the earth as her hawk-like eyes bore down with oppressive force. The young woman bowed, alone again. I only wish to enjoy the breeze. Still sentimental. I've worked hard. May I not spare a moment for myself? Few could meet the old woman's gaze without quailing. Sioran did so calmly. Do you resent me? I don't resent you. But my life is at stake. I only wish to be excused. The old woman's glare sharpened. I plucked you from the streets, a starving beggar. I fed you, clothed you, taught you the martial arts that made you who you are, and you dare ask to be excused. Her eyes blazed fiercer than a tiger's. Sealran frowned faintly. She did not fear her master, but she acknowledged the debt. Without her, Sealran might have starved or been sold into ruin. Gratitude bound her more than loyalty. It was only a thought. If master commands, the disciple obeys. Please, don't upset yourself. It harms your health. The old woman's nostrils flared. Others bent under her presence. Only Sealran endured it. She had both talent and spirit, yet still she was destined to be used, not chosen. That truth stung most. Is it today? Sealran asked. If no answer comes, we'll execute our plan. That will bring us great pressure. We prepared 7 years for this. Endure it. Obey me. Of course, master, always. Her tone carried a trace of irony, but the old woman ignored it. Today's weight was too heavy for sentiment. She had not slept all night. Her eyes were red, her heart burdened. Pitiful, Sealran thought, gazing at her with quiet sadness. A middle-aged woman burst in, trampling flowers underfoot. She bowed quickly. They've sent word, and they accepted our offer. Finally. The old woman slammed her cane, the ground denting, petals scattering into the air. Excitement lit her face. The old woman fixed her eyes on her disciple. The sect's future now rests with you. Do not fail. Sealran's calm voice concealed turmoil. The old woman knew, but dismissed it. Duty left no room for private feelings. The messenger added cautiously, but there is one problem. The old woman's expression darkened. Today, that matter. Pilwul and the children lay hidden underground, checking the condition of their bodies. To ordinary people, being buried in pitch darkness with no light would have been terrifying. But to them, it was comfortable, familiar. They were more at ease in darkness than in light. In fact, Pilwul had even managed to sleep soundly. He woke refreshed, his body in excellent condition. For most, time would blur in this kind of darkness. But Pilwul, relying on his sharpened intuition, could tell exactly how much had passed. Less than a day. It should be afternoon by now. He frowned. They had arrived here at dusk the night before. If they were planning a sneak attack, it should have happened under cover of night. That was when assassins were at their strongest. Broad daylight meant exposure. Lying low for a day or two was nothing unusual for assassins, and yet something felt wrong. The fourth sword, his subordinates, and the other children were all hidden, suppressing their presence. The silence should have been natural, but Pjolwol's instincts whispered of danger. He had felt this before, deep in the underground cavern. Each time, children had died. And then, a spear suddenly burst through the soil where Pjolwol had been hiding. He twisted away just in time, but the boy beside him wasn't so lucky. Pjolwol kicked away the dirt and shouted, "It's an attack!" The children scrambled from their hiding places at his warning. Waiting for them was a ring of soldiers armed with spears and swords. Their confusion turned to horror as a soldier yanked his spear from the ground, dragging a child's lifeless body up with it. "It's true. Assassins were hiding here," the man sneered. He swung the corpse aside like trash. "How dare you rats creep near Qingcheng Mountain? You must not value your lives." The man with the spear was Yu Jin-ok, a Qingcheng sect disciple and commander of the Jinzong Military Academy. Pointing his weapon at the children, he barked, "They've come to strike at the Qingcheng sect. Don't let a single one live." "Yes, sir." With a roar, the soldiers charged. "Disperse, break out of the circle, we'll regroup outside." It was So Yowel who shouted the order. Her words snapped the children from their panic, and they scattered in every direction. "We're at a disadvantage." Pjolwol darted through the chaos, scanning their numbers. He counted at least 100 soldiers, and there were surely more in hiding. Worse, Eugenok was a master of the spear. His soldiers, trained under him, were equally adept. Against assassins who relied on short blades and ambush tactics, long spears were deadly, and in daylight, with no shadows to melt into, the assassin's greatest strength was stripped away. Children fell one after another, unable to adjust to the sudden battle. Some died without even closing their eyes, confusion frozen on their faces. The soldiers surged toward Pjolwol, spears thrust from every angle. He slipped through a narrow gap, rushing in close. Before the nearest man could react, Pjolwol seized him by the head. A sickening crack split the air as the man's neck snapped. He killed one. Cut him down. Spears lunged again, but Peelwall was already gone, springing off the corpse into the forest. He had no intention of fighting head-on. Breaking the encirclement was the only option. In the corner of his vision, he saw So Yawal and others also forcing their way out. He pushed himself harder. Find them. Don't let a single one escape. The pursuers weren't just soldiers. Martial artists from other sects had joined as well, cutting down children without hesitation. Lord, I don't want to die. What did we do wrong? Wounded children wept as they bled out. They had done nothing, not since leaving the cavern. And yet, they were branded as assassins and condemned. There is no place for assassins on Qingcheng's sacred ground. Slaughter them all. The soldiers' faces twisted with zeal as they butchered the fleeing youths. Pyoul climbed a tree, leaping branch to branch like a squirrel to evade the spears below. Soldiers tried to follow but quickly fell behind. I need cover, somewhere safe. With a final burst of speed, he slipped through the encirclement. His body was cut and bruised, but nothing fatal. But why were we found? They had moved in secret. No one should have known. He remembered Eugenok's words. It was true. Assassins were hiding here. Someone had betrayed them. It wasn't the children. They hadn't known the target. They hadn't contacted anyone since leaving the cavern. That left only two possibilities. Either the Blood Phantom Corps leaked the information, or the client who ordered the assassination did. Pyoul's lips tightened. An arrow hissed through the air. He twisted away, narrowly avoiding death. A volley followed, pinning the ground where he had just been. This way. The archer's shout drew more soldiers to him. Among them was Zhongnisan of Gwimian Palace, known as the Ghost-Face Bow, a rare master archer in Zhonghu. Already, 3 children had fallen to his shots, but Pyoul vanished into the trees. Tracking him should have been easy. The boy was wounded, leaving blood in his wake. Zhongnisan activated the Qingshu Jade Heart technique, heightening his senses. None had ever escaped his pursuit, until now. From the distance, soldiers suddenly shouted, pointing behind him. Zhongnisan turned and froze. Pyoul's fingers stabbed into his throat, sinking through flesh like tofu. Zhongnisan gurgled blood, eyes wide with disbelief. Pyoul wasted no time. With warriors closing in from all directions, he sprinted for the river and leapt in. Paiwal let the current carry him. Water had been scarce in the underground cave, so he'd never learned to swim properly. Still, he understood the basics and used every ounce of his strength to move with the flow. Jumping into the river didn't guarantee escape. He didn't know what dangers lurked downstream, so he swam and rested in turn, always alert. During 7 years underground, the children had learned to kill each other. But they had also developed rudimentary communication, secret marks carved like meaningless scratches, codes only they could read. 200 meters north. He followed the trail, moving silently and masking his presence with a mix of thunder-splitting and turtle-breathing. The password led elsewhere, and elsewhere again, 400 meters northeast. Red droplets stained the ground blood. Whoever'd been ahead was badly hurt. Several times, soldiers passed close enough that Pyoul had to dive into brush and hold his breath. The net tightening around the plane made escape seem impossible. He kept going anyway until a spear burst from the soil. He rolled clear just in time. The attacker was a girl moving like a cat, Li Min. Relief flashed on her face when she recognized him, but Pyoul's eyes went to the blood marring her side. She was grievously wounded. The trail of black droplets matched her. She had fought to the end to buy others time. She'd used every trick she had to survive, but at terrible cost. She was dying. Pyoul sat beside her. Despite his lack of medical skill, it was obvious. She stood on the knife edge between life and death. Unless a miracle, he began. Li Min smiled faintly. I know. Are you afraid? Don't you want to live? I do. Can you save me? No. He was blunt. That's why I stopped fighting. I know my body. Her eyes were distant, tired but calm. Don't be sorry. It's not your fault. Still, what I want, she whispered, voice cracking, is for you to survive. I'll try. Live, survive, and make them feel what we felt. Her breath came shallow. After all we did to survive, to be erased like this by someone who decides our fate, she choked on the word. I want them to know. Pyoul listened. In the underground, she'd fought harder than anyone. She'd believed leaving meant a future. That faith had been stolen. Her last request was small and human. Call me by my name. He spoke it softly. She smiled the faintest smile, as if a light had answered. Thank you, I wanted to hear it. She did not move after that. Pyoul felt the finality immediately. Her body slackened, her face serenely beautiful, even in death. The small bond between them snapped. For a breath, he sat holding her. Then he laid her gently on the ground. Footsteps and harsh voices approached, soldiers tracing blood. Pyoul's hands went to work, quick, efficient. He had one last word for her. I don't know who planned this, but I will erase them all from the face of the earth. Watch me. He rose and melted into the brush as the hunters drew near. The base of the Blood Shadow group was a tightly guarded secret. Though their reputation in Sichuan was great, in the end they were only assassins. Their trade bred endless enemies, as many as grains of sand along a riverbank. Every family touched by their blades nursed hatred. Vengeful men and women waited for any chance to tear the group down. Gujiyong sat in his residence listening to the Fourth Sword's report. Only I and my subordinates escaped unnoticed, the assassin said. And the children. The inescapable net has been cast. It would be impossible for them to get out. What a pity, Gujiyong sighed. His face carried genuine regret. The children were talented, honed carefully for years, yet discarded without ever being used. On his desk lay a single sheet of paper. Written on it, one word, cancelled. The client had withdrawn the assassination request. The moment Gujiyong received the notice, he ordered the Fourth Sword and his men to flee quietly. The children, lost in their turtle-breathing technique, never noticed. Soon after, the inescapable net unfolded, an unexpected move. Had it been fully activated earlier, even the Fourth Sword would never have escaped. Isn't this place in danger too? Fourth Sword asked. Because of the client. They killed the children to erase evidence. Wouldn't wiping us out as well be safer? You're right, but they won't find this base. Not by ordinary means. For insurance, Gujiyong had more than one house. We wait for the storm to pass, Gujiyong decided. No rash moves. You truly don't know the client's identity. If I wanted, I could find out. But there are lines one should never cross. He picked up the letter and shook it. A faint scent spread through the room. Fourth Sword stiffened. Tracking incense. What? Someone hid it in the letter. His trained nose had caught what Gujiyong's vigilance missed. Without shaking it, no one would have noticed. Gujiyong paled. Then, screams erupted outside. Soldiers were storming the mansion, cutting down assassins with ease. Workers who'd lived as harmless staff revealed their true nature, but even these trained killers fell quickly. All of you, retreat, roared Lim Seol, the First Sword. He threw himself into the fray, but even his skill barely slowed the intruders. Captain, run! Fourth Sword seized Gujiyong's arm. Run where? Gujiyong snapped. I am their target. The client had moved against him. They crossed the line, Gujiyong muttered. Between assassin and patron, rules existed. Those rules had been shattered. He drew his blade, the blood moon knife. Sir, we can still... No. Look around. There's no retreat. He shook off Fourth Sword's hand and stepped forward. Now is the time to show them. If they bite, they'll be the ones devoured. With a slash, he plunged into the fight, his blade painted arcs of red. One stroke, one kill. Wherever he swung, blood spattered and bodies fell. Though long absent from the front lines, his killing art remained lethal. The assassins rallied behind him. For a moment, the momentum shifted. Hold on, Gujiyong shouted. We can still win, a cold voice cut him off. You won't have that chance. A surge of energy came with it. Gujiyong blocked with the blood moon knife. The blow rattled his organs. He nearly spat blood. Who are you? He demanded. How dare an assassin ask my name? A woman vaulted the fence and landed before him. She was striking in her beauty, but the sharp arch of her brows radiated venom. Recognition darkened Gujiyong's face. You, Zhonghua, the life-ending toxic heart, then the client. Hold your tongue, she snapped. She drew a chowry from her waist, its shadow flickering in his vision. Gujiyong's heart sank. Zhonghua was no ordinary opponent, and her backer was what truly chilled him. Only then did he grasp who had hired them. Fear flickered across his eyes. Fool, I should have known, he cursed his complacency. Their fate had been sealed the moment they accepted the commission. My mistake brought disaster, he growled, but I will not die alone. He hurled himself at Zhonghua, blood moon knife blazing with red-black chi. Steel and silk clashed, blade against chowry. Sparks flew as their energies collided. Zhonghua's expression tightened. So the leader of assassins holds such skill, even trained in the orthodox arts of Emei, even with decades of mastery, she could not easily subdue him. But daylight was against him. She resolved then, the Bloodshadow group must be annihilated. Gujiyong tried to evade, but pain shot through his ankle. A hidden weapon had pierced him. Distracted by Zhonghua, he couldn't react in time. His balance broke. The cowrie struck his chest, caving it in with crushing force. He collapsed, gasping. Around him, his assassins fell in droves, overwhelmed. Blood filled his vision. Tears of fury streaked his face as he watched his group's destruction. Then came the sound of steady footsteps. Disciple Zhonghua greets master. An old woman entered, leaning on a staff. Her presence was suffocating, like a crow looming over carrion. Why waste time on such lowly assassins? She asked coldly. Forgive me, master, Zhonghua bowed. They resisted more than expected. Gujiyong's eyes widened. Abbess of 9 calamities. The Emei sect. How could you? Your request. Crack. The abbess's staff smashed down, caving in his skull. What nonsense, she murmured, watching the blood spread across the floor. With the death of their captain, their morale crumbled further. The first sword knelt, a blade piercing his chest. Before him stood a dazzling woman, her sword the instrument of his death. She wore a pale blue top decorated with a peacock feather pattern, complementing her ethereal beauty. I heard there was a disciple among the abbess's students whose beauty was like a fairy's and whose talent pierced the sky. It must be you, he murmured. Exaggerated rumors, she said, shaking her head. The first sword's despair was absolute. Decades of his life, spent as a seasoned assassin, were rendered meaningless. Yong Seolran's gaze softened for a moment before she turned toward Guhasata. Around the abbess gathered all the Emei sect's great disciples, Zhonghua, Kyosum, Doyan, Dansum, Unmong, senior sisters of Yong Seolran. Zhonghua's eyes narrowed as Yong Seolran approached. "You're late, youngest. What did you talk about with the assassin?" "I'm sorry, senior sister," Yong Seolran replied calmly. Her composure drew Zhonghua's respect and caution. Yong Seolran would play a pivotal role in Guasada's future plans. Two disciples dragged a figure before Zhonghua, the fourth sword, his arms and legs severed, a bloody testament to the abbess's wrath. "This is the one who led the newly trained assassins near Qingcheng Mountain," said Guhasata, her gaze sharp and contemptuous. Assassins, humans who killed solely for money, were her most despised kind. "How many assassins did you command?" she asked. Why ask?" He struggled to speak. "You don't need to know why, just answer." "I don't know," he muttered, bloodied, lying. "Even if I knew, I wouldn't tell you. You think I'd betray the person who made our base like this?" Guasata snorted and extended her hand. Her wrists, gnarled like old wood, grasped his. Chu Hongyong Gigong, one of Emei's most brutal techniques, it caused total paralysis while inflicting agonizing, hellish pain, body and mind shredded as if gnawed by unseen insects, suffering that could persist until death. Even a battle-hardened assassin like the fourth sword screamed in torment, muscles twisting impossibly despite his limbs having been severed. The Emei disciples, including Zhonghua, turned away. Only Guasata remained, relentless, until the fourth sword succumbed. 28, now kill, he gasped. Guhasata withdrew her hand. He still breathed, but only barely. His body and spirit were crushed. She turned to Zhonghua. "How many have you killed?" 24. 4 remain. We remove all variables. As Zhonghua departed, Guhasata addressed young Seolran. "Seolran, your role is crucial, you understand." "Yes, master. When this matter concludes, I will arrange your union with Qingcheng. Until then, prepare your mind and body." "Yes, master." Guhasata muttered to herself, "Everything is for the sect." The war of demons in heaven reshaped Zhonghu. Some sects collapsed, others rose. The topography of power shifted dramatically. With the Tang sect gone and Emei withdrawn, Qingcheng now controlled Sichuan's major interests, its strongest era. The Emei and Qingcheng sects were the two factions, with smaller sects under their influence. All participated in the hunt for the assassins, a mission to protect Qingcheng and eliminate its threat. After years of peace, martial artists relished the chance to display their power. Warriors scoured Sichuan, hunting the scattered children. Roads out of the province were blocked, forcing the children to flee. Among them, Pyolwol watched from the shadows, perfectly hidden near Qingcheng. The assassins had focused only on escape routes, ignoring the path toward Qingcheng itself. Now, with the defenses concentrated elsewhere, Pyolwol seized the opportunity. "If they want to die as natural enemies of Zhonghu, then I'll just become one," he muttered, his target, Wu Gunsang. Pyolwol's first solo assassination had begun. Qingcheng's sect was like a fortress in the heavens. Its name, Qingcheng, reflected the mountains that rose like waves, the peaks forming a natural protective barrier. Steep and unyielding, the terrain made infiltration and escape extraordinarily difficult. The mountains were dotted with guards, disciples stationed throughout, ready to converge as one when trouble arose. The true strength of Qingcheng lay in these scattered defenders. Even if an assassin succeeded, escaping afterward was another challenge entirely. The sect was at its peak after decades of growth. Since the Tang sect's fall, no group could rival Qingcheng in Sichuan. Its borders were secure, its defenses nearly impossible to bypass in a single day. He watched the entrance, noting the flow of people. Thousands came and went daily, merchants, Zhonghu affiliates, and supply carriers. Outsiders could not freely navigate the sect. Then he noticed a young man leaving the sect. About 4 or 5 years younger than Pyolwol, he moved confidently, smiling at the guards. Clearly, he was a disciple. Pyolwol followed him. The boy was Dojin, a third-generation disciple of Qingcheng. Talented and well-liked, he was on a mission to collect medicinal herbs for his master. Something snapped tight around his throat. Dojin froze. He tried to scream, but his voice failed. A dagger pierced his thigh, and a strong hand muffled him. It was Pyolwol. The soft red glow in his eyes struck fear deep into Dojin's chest. In that instant, the boy realized he was a mouse, and Pyoul was a viper, ready to strike. Are you a disciple of Qingcheng? Nod if yes. Dojin nodded frantically. I'll let you answer my questions. Do not scream. Dojin nodded again, then forgot his promise. A dagger pierced his shoulder. The pain forced him into silence. Pyoul's presence alone crushed his will. Any sudden move, any cry, and he could die instantly. He confessed everything he knew, his generation, his sect, and his Yaxionedong affiliation. I ask one last time, Pyoul said. Who is Wu Gunsong? Dojin's eyes widened. Senior brother Wu Gunsong, of the great star of Qingqing. Pyoul frowned. Dojin explained. Wu Gunsang was the Qingqing sect's finest disciple. His skills surpassed all but the sect's masters. He was also the son of Wu Jinpyong, the sect's second-in-command. He carried the hopes of the entire sect, groomed to restore its glory. This is worse than I imagined, Pyoul thought. The 7 years of training, the meticulous planning, it all made sense now. Wu Gunsang was not just a target, he was a prodigy destined for greatness. Even now, escape was impossible. If they discovered Dojin missing, pursuit would follow. Doing nothing carried the same risk. He had no choice. Dojin begged for mercy, tears streaming. Pyoul applied a mixture of lime, glutinous rice, and honey to Dojin's face, shaping it to resemble his own. Makeup from the Blood Phantom group allowed Pyoul to wear Dojin's likeness convincingly. Clothes exchanged, posture mimicked. Everything about Pyoul now mirrored the young disciple. At the main gate, guards saw him approaching. Oh, it's Dojin. Why are you back already? Oh, I forgot something, Pyoul said, scratching his head, mimicking Dojin perfectly. The guards let him through without suspicion. Inside, Qingcheng revealed its majesty, temples, courtyards, and halls spread over the mountains. Yet Pyoul was unfazed. He had seen similar structures before, and after 7 years of preparation, he knew the layout intimately. Security patrols, weak points, hidden paths. Pyoul navigated flawlessly, greeting anyone who might recognize Dojin, passing unnoticed. Finally, he reached his destination, Bright Moon Palace, Emei, the residence of Wu Gunsang. Sangqing Palace was the heart of the sect, the site of all major decisions. Security was stringent, and today, the elders, including Myongjin, the longtime sect leader, had gathered there. Myongjin spoke first. Has the situation outside settled? It seems the search for the assassin has concluded, replied Wu Jinpyong coldly. How dare an assassin target our sect? Does this make sense, junior brother? Of course not. It seems highly likely someone plotted this. Wu Jinpyong's eyes gleamed. Who could it be? It's too early to jump to conclusions. We need more information. Will we leave it at that? Not at all. I've already dispatched disciples to investigate. Impressive, junior brother Wu, Myongjin said with a satisfied smile. Myongjin, the senior elder and Qingcheng's #1 sword, finally spoke. Whoever caused this must never be forgiven. Our sect stands at a crucial turning point. We cannot allow such an incident to occur again. Wu Jinpyong nodded in agreement. Decades ago, Jianghu had faced the Celestial Demon Union. If Li Kuok and the Providence Alliance had not resisted, the world would have fallen. Shaolin, Wudong, and Manhwa boldly opened their gates and fought, gaining fame and influence. Qingcheng and Emei, cautious and closed off, lagged behind, earning Jianghu's criticism. Don't worry, if we follow the plan, we'll catch up within a decade, said Mu Zhongjin. How dependable. No, senior brother. Then your son must have inherited your talent. Wu Jinpyong's face darkened. Wu Gunsang has isolated himself to focus on training. Is that so? Then there's no cause for concern, Mu Zhongjin said calmly. Yes, that suffices. Wu Gunsang's talent is undeniable, he added, and the elders nodded. Mo Youngjin spoke again. I hear the Emei sect proposed a marriage. Wu Jinpyong frowned. How did that happen? Marriage with the youngest disciple of the Abbess of 9 Calamities. She's rumored to be intelligent and beautiful, a good match for Wu Gunsang. I agree, Wu Jinpyong admitted reluctantly. Why the hesitation? It's because of Guhasata, Wu Jinpyong said. The mention of her name caused all the elders to frown. Guhasata, Abbess of 9 Calamities, was a figure who inspired unease. If Wu Gunsang marries her disciple, we must accept it, Mu Zhongjin concluded. Wu Gunsang is the Qingqing sect's only hope to catch up with the other 3 sects. Never forget that. Bright Moon Palace, an old hall of the Qingqing sect, carried great historical significance. Though modest in size, it had a high wall and a basement for secluded training. Its assignment to Wu Gunsang reflected the sect's immense expectations. Pyoul observed the palace silently. Though it was his first time seeing the real hall, it felt familiar. Like the underground cave structures he had studied for years, he knew every secret path, every weak point. No Qingcheng disciple knew this place better than he did. Crawling along the walls, Pyeolwol approached the palace roof. He knew the old tiled roofs concealed empty spaces, remnants of hurried construction, and he moved through them with ease. Soldiers patrolled below, unaware of his presence. Pyeolwol used the turtle breathing technique to remain undetected, moving silently while listening to their chatter. Did Wu Gunsang bring a woman again? Shh, be quiet. To sneak her in during closed training. Bold. One of our disciples. Quiet. Don't get caught. From this, Pyeolwol learned something vital. Wu Gunsang occasionally brought women inside, contrary to expectations for a Taoist sect. As darkness fell, Pyeolwol made his move, landing silently on the Bright Moon Palace roof. Night was his ally. He removed a roof tile and infiltrated the hall, crawling like a predator, soundless. Peering inside, Wu Gunsang was not immediately visible. Pyeolwol guessed correctly. The young warrior was in the basement. He located a ventilation shaft concealed behind a pillar and slipped inside. Using turtle breathing, he moved as slowly and silently as possible. The underground basement revealed its secret. A 6-foot-tall, half-naked Wu Gunsang lay asleep, a woman beside him. His body was a marvel of training, muscles dense and honed, calloused palms and back, alert even in slumber. Pyeolwol felt a thrill. Wu Gunsang exuded a natural aura, impossible for assassins untrained in martial arts to replicate. Yet Pyeolwol remained composed. He is human. Blood can be drawn, knives can pierce, he can die like anyone else. Weapons lay scattered around, swords of all kinds, proof of his formidable skill. Pyeolwol rehearsed the scene in his mind. From his bosom he drew a small bundle of rope, a gift from the Blood Shadow group, fashioned it into a noose, and lowered it through the ventilation shaft. As the rope neared Wu Gunsang's face, the warrior stirred, eyes snapping open, directly at Pyeolwol. Caught him. Pyeolwol yanked the rope. Wu Gunsang woke not by sound, but by instinct, a subtle, ominous sense that something was amiss. His nerves prickled, alerting him before his conscious mind even registered danger. The vent shattered, and a black figure fell. It was Pyeolwol, holding a rope that tightened around Wu Gunsang's neck. With internal ki coursing through his palm, he slashed the rope above him. The rope split like paper, freeing him instantly. "Who are you?" he demanded. Instead of answering, Pyeolwol grabbed a nearby sword and rushed. Wu Gunsang met the attack with his bare hand, striking the blade. It bounced harmlessly. His palms, infused with internal ki, were like forged steel. This was Jol Young-soo, Absolute Shadow Hand, a secret Qingcheng sect technique allowing him to parry sword attacks without wielding a blade. He snorted, fury in his eyes. For an assassin to dare come here, with that he unleashed a devastating strike. Pyeolwol staggered backward, blood trickling from his lips, but he endured. Wu Gunsang, eyes gleaming, advanced. Pyeolwol quickly kicked a dagger toward him. The dagger flew, only for Wu Gunsang to catch it with ease. Though a short blade, it reassured him. Even the greatest martial artist feels confident with a weapon in hand. Thank you for watching. Subscribe and enable notifications so you don't miss the next chapter.